Okay, so hello everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Arthur Brouillon, so I'm a French PE teacher at the Lycée International of London Winston Churchill. And before I start my small presentation on how I use Edpuzzle in PE, I would like to say thank you for Edpuzzle to give me the opportunity to be here today. And I would also like to say thank you to my school because they give me the opportunity to learn how to use Edpuzzle during all this academic year. So thank you to them too. So my presentation will be really small. It will take place in three parts. I will start with a small introduction on how, in my opinion, Edpuzzle is really good for PE teacher. Then I will give three examples on how I use Edpuzzle during my lesson myself. And then I will conclude on in my opinion, the three best things you have to remind about using Edpuzzle in PE. So first of all, Edpuzzle is really good for a PE teacher because you can find on Edpuzzle directly a lot of video. There is a lot of data directly on Edpuzzle, but you can also use all the videos in YouTube. So that's really good if you need to find something about a sport you can't find on Edpuzzle. You can go on YouTube, take a video, create your own question, and doing your own modification on it. That's really good. And you can also use videos from other PE teacher. That's really good. It's all connected. So for example, if I need a video on boxing and I find on Edpuzzle a video on boxing with a lot of questions directly created by one other PE teacher, I can use it. And if I create a video myself and another PE teacher would like to use it himself, he can do some modification on mine and use mine. So that's really good. And the last thing, it's really good for me because I work in the international school. You can find videos available in English, in French, in Spanish. So it's really good to make sure you can find something all your students can understand. And it's really good also to help your students to learn a foreign language. So now I will give you three examples how I use Edpuzzle during my units with my students. The first one is I use Edpuzzle to help my students to learn all the rules of the sports before the start of my units. It's helped me to save a lot of time practicing because in PE, practice time is the best learning time. So for example, here you can see, I take a video on Edpuzzle of tag rugby and I give it to my year 7 students before a unit of tag rugby. And I ask them to do all the question about the common rules of tag rugby. So the example here, it's about which thing is not allowed in tag rugby, so the forward pass. And thanks to that, when I start my units in tag rugby, I could directly start with the games, warm-ups, and games directly. Because in my previous school in France, I needed to take, for example, 30 or 40 minutes in 2 hours lesson just to make sure all my students understands all the rules and are able to practice the sport. So now it's a really good point. I can save a lot of time practicing for all my students during my PE lessons. My second really good example of using Edpuzzle in PE, it's to help my students to understand something abstract. For example, in my previous in PE, we use a lot of demonstration to make sure your students can learn some movements. And in my previous school, during a gymnastic unit, my students asked me to show them how we can do a front flip or a back flip, but I'm not able to do it myself. So I was thinking about a way to give them the opportunity to see how it look like and how it can help them to understand the key principle of doing a front flip or a back flip. So this year, during a dance unit, I asked to my year 12 students to do a choreography of 3 or 5% per group and to add in the choreography some, we call that special group movements. During my lesson, I give them all the name of the special movements, and they were all asking me, okay, sir, but how it look like? Because I would like to incorporate that in my choreography, but I don't know how it look like. So I create a video. I will show you an example just after of in dancing of a famous dancing crew, the Crest crew. And I select this video because you can find on the video all the special movements you can find in dance. And I add some question on this video to help my students to distinguish or to see every type of special movement and to use it. So for example, here, it was about the cascade movement, how it looked like. So it looked like this. So with the question after, they can see that a cascade movement in dance, it's a small movement. All the dancers will do the same, but with 0.5, for example, second between each movement to create a good view of the dance. So thanks to that, all my students can now use these types of movement during their own choreography. My last example is I use Edpuzzle to assessing directly my students between some lessons to allow them to have more responsibility and more autonomy. It's a good point because in the French curriculum, we ask to our students to be able to practice the sports, but also to be able to have some responsibility on the sports. For example, referring some games or judging some things in dance, if I keep in the last example. So here you can find it's a video of the rules of basketball in French. So for example, a question um, where do you need to restart a game after a foul? Is it on the sideline, on the defensive line, or directly on the place where the fault take place? And you can find after in Edpuzzle all the answer of your students. It was with year 11 students. And you can see that Oscar, Farah, Tristan, Romain, and Jada have 100% good answer on this. So to me, it's a good point to give them a referring lessons. So it's now they are able to do some referring during the classroom, during the game. And also it's a good point because it's helped me to save more time again because I don't have to do this during my lesson directly. I can check this between my lesson to make sure when I ask to a student to do the referee, he know how to do it before and it's not something he could be afraid of. And to conclude, I would like you to keep in mind three things. For a PE teacher, a puzzle is really good because it saves a lot of practice time for your students. So for me, it's the best point because you have to practice to learn in PE. So that's really, really good point. Then it's a good way to make the abstract concrete for your students, to help them to see things you cannot demonstrate yourself during your lessons. And it's really good to help your students to have some responsibility. You can test their possibility before the lesson and give them more responsibility during the lesson after all. So that's all for me. Thank you for everything. Thank you again for Edpuzzle for this. And I will now leave Mike during this part of Edpuzzle. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Arthur. You know what, Arthur, I learned what a cascade movement is. Thank you for the video. I had no idea.
No
I'm not
worries.
quite sure I could do the flip, but we may borrow that for a little halftime show thing that we do at our school for Powder
Yeah,
Puff. So that's actually kind of cool. Thank you.
no
I
worries.
appreciate that. Greetings from Jacksonville, Florida. My name is Michael Koloski. As in the intro, I am mainly a science teacher by day, but coach at night. I coach various sports such as football, volleyball. I'm coaching now, basketball, and I am the varsity baseball coach here at First Coast. Go Knights. Next slide, please. So what we did is we followed a very similar pattern with regard to the talking points that we're going to do. I'm going to talk about why use Edpuzzle, especially in coaching, where a lot of people would think about using Edpuzzle. As a matter of fact, I had my IT guy over in my classroom the other day preparing, getting everything ready, making sure everything runs smooth for this summit, and he coaches as well. And I let him know what I was presenting on, and he never thought to use Edpuzzle. After a few minutes with him, he's gone back and he's starting to create an Edpuzzle for the team that he's going to coach. So we'll talk about why use Edpuzzle in coaching. I'll give you three examples of some things that I do with using Edpuzzle in coaching, and then we will wrap it up. Next slide, please. So why Edpuzzle? Well, duh, because Edpuzzle rocks. Edpuzzle honestly has revolutionized my classroom. I don't think I have any other tool that I've encountered that has made the impact that Edpuzzle has had in my classroom, and thus I have jumped all in with regard to Edpuzzle. So credit to everybody on the Edpuzzle team and creating the community that we now have. Video is a powerful tool. Bottom line, video is a powerful tool. And we'll talk about how to use that tool in just moments. And honestly, Edpuzzle can help maximize practice time. As Arthur said in PE, time is valuable. And I'm sure the use of Edpuzzle has really maximized the time that he gets to spend with his athletes and students in PE. So let's jump in. Let's look at some of the three examples. First one, go ahead, Arthur. When I coached football, I'm no longer coaching football at the moment, but I do use this in some of the other sports that I do, especially in basketball. I used Edpuzzle to break down film. Those of you that are coaches out there, you know that honestly, breaking down film from games or even practices can be a very useful tool in making adjustments to go against a team next week, or just simply bettering yourself. In breaking down film, athletes can learn, they can practice, and they can fine tune a valuable skill. Not to mention, coaches can receive valuable input from the athletes themselves. I gave you a screenshot of an example where in football we had a major breakdown on our line and our quarterback got sacked. So what happened on this play? And I like to give a open-ended question to get the athlete side as well. We as coaches, we see things one way, but sometimes the athletes that are in the trenches, that are in the game, can see some of the things that we as coaches don't always pick up. So we get a different perspective with regard to that. Now, sometimes, hopefully you guys were in on some of the other sessions as well. Sometimes I'll use this with a live session with the entire team. As we break down film together, we'll probably do the top 10 plays and the 10 plays that we only want to see one more time to learn from it. And give these open-ended questions where this gives some of these athletes that aren't so open, that don't feel as comfortable to participate in breaking down film and giving their thoughts, their ideas, an opportunity to do that in a non-threatening environment as well. So we get valuable input from the athlete side with regard to breaking down film. Next slide, please. Another way I use it, and this was something that I used this year with my baseball team, was a new skill introduction. One of my pitchers was all about learning a new pitch called the sweeper pitch. No doubt he's a great pitcher. He has several different pitches in his arsenal, but he wanted a new pitch called a sweeper pitch. Cool. We can work on that. Now, instead of spending all of this time in practice talking about a sweeper pitch, showing how to hold the ball, etc., instead, you can play a little bit of the video if you don't mind. What we did is I put this video into Edpuzzle, and it went through some of the mechanics of the sweeper pitch to begin with. So my pitcher had a little bit of an idea, a little bit of a feel for it. I encouraged him to go home, watch the video, grasp the baseball, start learning how to hold the ball and get that motion, that flick of the wrist, in order to cause that ball to sweep. It goes across the plate as it comes over the plate. And honestly, he did develop a decent sweeper pitch. We're hoping to work on that again this year. So again, think about the amount of time that we were able to save by using Edpuzzle and really working on that skill rather than just introducing that skill. Time is valuable. I know I'm talking, to people that know. time is valuable in practice. Next slide, please. And the third way that I like to use Edpuzzle
So,
is to share some information, some inspiration, or some wisdom. Sometimes your message is best delivered by somebody else. This is some of you that coach out there, you may have seen this video. It's from Gino Ariema, coach at UConn. Go UConn, baby. This was after the 2018 Final Four where they got beat by Notre Dame. And we at First Coast hold character pretty high, especially me on my teams. I expect my athletes to be some of the best students on campus. I know they're not going to be perfect, but I hold them to a very high standard in the classroom and out of the classroom in the community as well. And they hear it from me. They hear it from my coaching staff quite a bit. But it's another thing to hear from a coach on the scale of a Gino Ariema, especially if you've got athletes, as I do have a few playing at the next level, that if they're aspiring to play at the next level, they're actually hearing it from those coaches as well. This is a video. For sake of time, we won't play it, Arthur, but this is a
oh,
video
sorry.
that Gino talks about body language matters. And if they're not showing that they're through their body language that they're wanting to play, if they're taking plays off, things of that nature, they're not getting in the game. And he holds that to the people that are on the bench as well. Something that I do as well. You may not be in the game right now, but your time is coming and you better be ready. And if you're sitting on that bench, like you're having a little party or whatnot, hey, it looks like you're having fun on the bench. That's probably where you're going to stay because you're not getting in the game. I would rather, honestly, lose a game than play somebody, even if it's my best player, that is giving me a body language that they don't matter or they think they're above the team. So sometimes, again, it's better to hear it because they hear us all the time. And sometimes it's better to hear it from somebody else and make them reflect on it. Again, adding a question where they can respond on what they got out of the video can make a difference as well. Next slide, Arthur. So Edpuzzle as a coaching tool in sports, it allows athletes meaningful breakdown of film. One way I use it, it enables a new method of introducing skill in play, looking at different plays, setting up plays in basketball. I've used that for as well. It's one thing to explain it. It's one thing to kind of draw it out on a clipboard, but it's another thing to actually see that. And then it provides a platform to share information, inspiration, and wisdom to others. Next slide, please. So as wrap up, so what are your thoughts on using Edpuzzle as a coach's tool in PE and sports? What other ways might you use Edpuzzle in coaching PE or sports? As a matter of fact, I thought of one as I was preparing for this morning. We here in Florida have to certify with the North Florida High School Association. Students need to do that too with regard to concussion, heat illness, and sudden cardiac arrest. The possibility of maybe Edpuzzling that, and we can have that accountability with regard to who's seen it and who hasn't. Next slide. So thank you. We appreciate everyone's input. Manny, we appreciate Edpuzzle and the opportunity to Arthur and I collaborate. This was really cool. Across
Yeah,
the
it is very
Atlantic
cool.
Ocean. I thought this was so cool. We really, really appreciate this opportunity. And we'll leave you with this. The great coach, Sparky Anderson of the Detroit Tigers, once said this: success isn't something that just happens. Success is learned, success is practiced, and then it's shared. And I appreciate Edpuzzle for giving us that platform in order to share.